Hey yo, what is up? We are testing out the BZ-68 Tier 9 heavy tank with the rocket boosters. This might be my first game in this tank, but this is not my first game ever because I already tested this out on the common test server just before it launched. Yes, they have nerfed it out a little bit. Actually nerfed it out a lot because what they had planned for this tank is completely different to what they delivered to the live server. This tank was supposed to do 1050 damage with a low penetrating standard shell. They're supposed to have a HE shell with 50 penetration doing 1050 damage, and then the premium shell doing 750 damage. That didn't work out in super test, so they ended up just running a tank with 530 alpha with just one gun. They had a derp gun on this one, so they ripped out that idea and decided to just go for the 530 alpha gun, which is still good. That is why I know a lot about this tank, because I already played it out in common test. Even with the small gun and 530 alpha, this is a very competitive tank and very fun, very good tank in tier 9. Now what they nerfed was the hit points was supposed to be 1950. They nerfed it down 50 hit points to 1900, and the speed as well. It was supposed to be 35 kilometers an hour going forward, and then with rocket boosters supposed to be 53. They nerfed it down to 30 going forward in normal speed and 45 with boosters. You still have 5 boosters going on that you can reload. Take about 5 seconds cooldown and then 10 seconds to boost. I'm in Abbey in this position because this is a really strong position, and it looked like it was a good opportunity for me to come here without being contested, so I took that chance. I knew that we would probably win this just because of the lineup and just because of the position that I was in, and the kind of rocket boosters that I could use to get me into this position uncontested. Now I've used up already 3 boosters just to get here, and that is the price you have to pay with the rocket boosters. This tank is all the Chinese tank, in fact all the Chinese heavy tanks with the rocket boosters are essentially very, very slow tanks. With the boosters help them perform just slightly better than an average heavy tank that is traveling at a normal speed. If you were on a foot race with another heavy tank, let's say a 11114, any kind of Tech 3 heavy tank, it would be much slower. But with the rocket boosters you can be just a little bit quicker to get to your initial positions, and you're going to use like 2-3 boosters just to get into that early position. And then now I've got 2 more boosters left that I can use for the rest of the game, maybe just to get some positional advantage later on in the game, which I will use. But the boosters aren't really that big of a deal, but the good thing about this tank, I can say, is the gun. Unfortunately, I can't say that about the accuracy, which reflects in the equipment that I'm using. I'm not even using any hardening. I'm using a vent directive. I'm using vents in my bonus slot. I'm using rammers, and I'm using a vertical stabilizer. This tank has a diminished accuracy. The moving the dispersion of this tank is 0.40, which makes it kind of bad for a heavy tank. It was supposed to be 0.36 dispersion, but they figured out that this kind of advantage, or this kind of strong dispersion, might not be good for this kind of tank, so they made it worse. They made it a 0.40 dispersion, and the moving dispersion is 0.20, which means I'm trying to do everything I can to improve its accuracy, short of running an improved aim. Now I could have run an improved aim, but that would mean maybe I would sacrifice my vents or my vertical stabilizer. I decide that, you know, the vents might help a little bit in the accuracy in lieu of the improved aim, so I just decided to run double vents instead and a vertical stabilizer, because the moving dispersion of 0.20 makes this tank really terrible shooting on the move or trying to aim when you are just coming to a standstill. When you're moving, you stop and then you aim. It takes just a smidgen slower, longer aim. So I think running a vertical stabilizer is better for me anyway. But as you can tell, in this game I've already done 2000 plus damage, made very short work of this top tier matchmaking, just, you know, maybe about 5 tier 9 tanks versus a bunch of tier 8 tanks, and maybe there's even some tier 7 tanks in this game. Can't really remember, but you know, dealing with all these kinds of lower tier tanks is really not a problem at all. The real test is playing against tier 10 tanks, and to be honest with you, even with tier 10 tanks, this is a pretty strong tier 9 heavy tank, irrespective of whether it has good accuracy or good mobility or not. It is still pretty good. The engine horsepower, it is 770 horsepower with the boosters on. You have nearly 2000 horsepower. The power to weight ratio 12.83, really low for a heavy tank. This is not in any way any kind of mobility heavy tank. This is a slow heavy tank, much like a super heavy, you could say. If you're playing, you know, one of those VKs that are slow, you know, trundling along, slow heavy tanks, this is what it feels like. But you have a pretty nifty 530 alpha gun that can bite and do substantial damage, because, you know, you're getting pretty good gun performance in terms of reload times. You're like 14-15 seconds of a reload, which makes this tank pretty impressive in terms of DPM and you know, the potential for it to do some damage. Again, this is my first game, but I already know this is a good tank even from the common tests, from the common test server. So I'm just going to play one game and break it down for you, very short and sweet. Easy first game, just 3.5k damage, easily done. I didn't even do anything special or did, you know, put a lot of hard work into this. But anyway, hope you got some useful information. This is a pretty good tank that I think is a good tank to actually keep for tier 9s. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.